No matter what people want you to believe, don't ever turn back on.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. It's your girl Alana here. So if you're new to my channel, hi. I am a social worker and I am a mental health advocate, and I love to read tarot and oracle and talk about those things too. So I kind of just want to sort of jump right in, and I just sort of felt inspired as I was in the middle of a reading to share a little bit with you. So I hope that you will stick around, and as you let me know as you enjoy my content, what you think. Of course, like, share, and subscribe. Yes, I am a social worker, as I said, and a mental health advocate, but I do have a very big love of tarot and oracle. And while I'm not necessarily always big on showing my collection, you will see my cards from time to time as I do work with them, and want to share how I work with them with you. So as I was saying, I was in the middle of a reading, and today has sort of been up and down. And, after my last video, if you haven't seen that, please check it out. I kind of did, using the playful heart and stuff. And then, of course, with the full moon and the super moon, the lunar eclipse that was coming up. I believe it was on the 17th. Yeah. And now we've moved into, fall season. I haven't quite changed over all my decks that I want to work with yet. Some are still kind of, okay, well, this is new. I'll show you this. So this is the Bumbleberry Tarot. I've had this or Bumbleberry Hollows Tarot. I've had this for some time. It was a Kickstarter, and this is a really, really cute deck. I don't know how long I plan to work with this right now, per se, but right now it's in rotation. And of course I still have the Playful Heart, which probably after this will be going away. The Kitten Chops Tarot, which is the large Major Arcana deck. Bizarre from Kitten Chops. Why am I putting that there? And of course the Pip Speak Tarot. The Gloria's Tarot still here. So anyways, but as I was saying, with my day and sort of up and down, the weather's been here in Toronto has been rainy for the last few days, and so that's sort of been playing, on me a little bit and really affecting my mood and stuff like that. But I just as I myself have just sort of been struggling with some things and thinking about stuff, and just really sort of taking in and understanding myself more, and where to me how love sort of factors in. And so of course, as I say, I am love, and I say that knowingly, because of to me, because of how I understand what love means. How I've grown to understand that over, the course of several years, and sort of really unpacking that because of what I've been through and things like that. And I've always, as I've mentioned before, part of my healing journey is also discovering the fact that, I'm a Hakoya empath, and how that sort of ties into, my journey throughout life, my choices to, become a social worker, to be a mental health advocate, and things like that. And so also, I guess I take my work very personally. I take, everything I do personally, because it's me, and I strive to be the best version of myself as much as possible. The thing is, that's been hard when when you're constantly faced with criticism, and I feel like I've been not only subjected to the criticism of others throughout my life, but also the impact that has had on me being very self-critical. And also, I know that I hold on to very high standards when it, in regards to sort of how I see humanity and upholding integrity and having these high values. And so it really gets under my skin when when I bear witness to, and also have to endure myself, the injustice of behavior that I see around me that go, against my very values. And so as I had started, and so this deck here that you see, well, there's several decks in front of me. I've gone back to my old style of reading because the last reading I did in the last video, when I had multiple cards and I had one upside down, or there was one that came upside down. I think I put it back upright, but then I had one on its side, and I was like, oh, it's messy with my OCD. So anyway, so we're back to the way I would normally read, with the layering and the 4 across, and yeah, so that pleases my brain. Anyhow, but so these are, again, this is you would have seen this deck before. I absolutely love this deck. I would say this is probably one of my top favorites. This is the What Would Love Do? How to Live from Love. It's a 64 card wisdom oracle deck with guidebook by Starman. And I think I would have shown you this. So the box opens like this, magnetic. Excuse me. That's all. Yeah, the stuff that's inside for when I put my stuff away and whatever. It's easier to just put everything in the box so that it doesn't, get lost and mixed up with other stuff and whatever. Anyways, so yes, it has a ribbon to pull out the cards. And I believe when you buy the deck, it doesn't come with a bag, but you can, if it's still being sold, of course, you can get the cotton bag that's just printed with the logo on it. And yeah, so right now I keep my cards in here when they're in use. And this box has this extra flap, so like when you want to do daily pulls, it doubles as a card stand for the cards. So So I really like that. And this book is extensive. As you can see, it's very, very thick. And so going back to the cards that you see in front of me. So what I end up pulling just now is assertiveness, abundance, boundaries, and fertile. And so the first card here, assertiveness. Assertiveness is speaking honestly about your thoughts, feelings, and desires while still considering others. And that's card 5. So I just want to read that one. Okay. Here we go. So, assertive thinking invites us to own and fix. Assertiveness. Assertiveness is speaking honestly about your thoughts, feelings, and desires while still considering others. The virtue of assertiveness allows us to express ourselves honestly, take responsibility, negotiate productively, and progress to win-win-win outcomes, while still taking into account how others work and feel. When we are assertive, we are expressing our truth. Assertiveness is basically expressing the truth with logic and accuracy. It's factual. Assertive thinking invites us to own and fix. It's a way for us to see the possibilities. Instead of thinking, once I fix this, I'll be happy, assertiveness opens a door and invites us to turn it around and ask for what we want instead of waiting for life to just happen to us. Assertiveness is fueled by love for the others around you. I'm sorry, let me read that again. Assertiveness is fueled by love for the others around you. I'm sorry, I had to say that twice. When you have to communicate your desires and they are misunderstood, or you need to be heard, you assert your power by just requesting what you need. Assertiveness is the antidote. Assertiveness is the antidote to shyness, bashfulness, apprehension, meekness, timidity, coyness, reticence, restraint, passivity, defenselessness, sheepishness, and weakness. What would love do? Practice with your thoughts. What would assertiveness do? What am I willing to do? Contemplate. How can I kindly speak my truth? Consider. How can I own and fix my part of this? Practice with your words. Speak up. Speak your truth with loving intention. Clearly state your boundaries. Journal to process a challenging situation. Write about it in your journal. Review it through a lens of loving kindness, and then edit your words. When finished, lovingly share them. Practice with your deeds. Bring any attention you feel a need to be assertive about to the other person or persons involved. Act in defense of yourself with love. Take solution-oriented action. For instance, okay, good night, light. For instance, if a waiter brings you cold soup, simply ask for your soup to be reheated instead of blaming the waiter for bringing you cold soup. Notice your hesitation to step out and take action. Even if it's uncomfortable, take one small step forward. And then, what I really also love about this guidebook, not only does it break all of this down for you, but there's even, you have, practice your thoughts. It breaks it down to about now your words, and then of course your actions, okay, which is your deeds. So now, and then it also has a dedication. So dedication: I dedicate my practice of assertiveness to all those who feel their voice is not heard. May we know there is value in our words. May we be free of the pain of being apprehensive and passive. And then it also has affirmations. I speak honestly about my thoughts, feelings, and desires while still considering others. I express myself honestly, take responsibility, negotiate productively, and progress to win-win situations while still taking into account how others work and feel. I assertively express my truth with logic and accuracy. All right, so that is assertiveness. We have abundance. Abundance. Generously give the abundance you want to receive. And that is card number 1. And I think even in the last video there was something I read and or even just in the reading, we know this, right? The saying that give as you wish to receive, right? Because what we sow is what we reap, right? And so again, this sort of comes back to the where the idea of whether or not unconditional love is healthy, a healthy practice. And if you remember, my answer to that is that there's a very fine line, and I've discovered that myself, not in the best way, learning that lesson. But I also recognize, so it's, and when we talk about trauma and trauma responses, and you have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, right? And fawn being, that's where the idea of people pleasing comes in, right? Because when we feel invisible, and for those who fall into that category, which that has been me, it's something that I've been spending so much time sort of working through to understand and, of course, correct and all of that. But one thing that I realize about, and even from stories that I hear from people recovering people pleasers and things like that, a lot of the time people just shut it off. It's right, or they shut off the majority of that, and to the point where it's like, well, all that matters is themselves. And I get that, because especially with it being a behavior that is sort of stemmed from wounding, and you end up over giving to the point where you are the one who is suffering and is finding yourself lacking, it it's a natural sort of response to now want to move into the defensive mode, which is to basically just turn it off. But the thing is, what I've come to recognize and what I see and observe in, even professionally speaking, and just naturally as, as an observer, is that as we turn that part off of ourselves, it's almost like it's I feel that it ends up being counterproductive, because now you're turning yourself into the kind of person that you've felt you had to cope with, if you will. And so so people now that you interact with are now, and you don't know what their wounding is. You don't know whatever you're interacting unless you actually discuss it, right? You're not gonna know. And so that's why when I talk about, the idea of love and understanding unconditional love, it's like, okay, so what I see is like, we learn by what we're exposed to, right? And those tend to come from those before us, right? As when we come into this world as babies, everything that we learn about love and anything that, for that matter, usually comes from those who come before us. So our parents, our grandparents, and they're the ones who end up sort of shaping how we interpret that word, right? Our interactions. But what if what we're being taught is incorrect? Then what we learn about love isn't actually accurate. And it's not until we take the time to reflect upon and really understand that we can really get to the nitty-gritty of what it means. And so why, again, sort of going back to even me starting this channel and the name, 3 Degrees of Love, and why that's significant is that, to me, when you're at the frequency of love, there's still variations to that. There's, right? And when you interact with others, the amount of love that is being shared, right, isn't going to be the same for everyone. So, for example, the love that you would give a stranger on the street, or right, as you pass, to me, it's not going to be the same love you give to your parent or to your child or to your significant other, right? It's totally different. And so, for me, how I see expressing love to a stranger would be, I'm passing them, I see them, I acknowledge them, and maybe a wave or a smile, a hello. Seeing someone who maybe is struggling because they have so many groceries and they're trying to balance to open their car door. So you take the time to offer assistance, Or, you know, you see a homeless person and you feel compelled to either buy them a cup of coffee or give them $1 or something, right? Whereas your friends, the love that you share is the time that you give them that you, so whether it be, you know, the time that is spent hanging out, chatting, talking, you know, if the support that you offer a friend who may be grieving, right? That sort of thing. And so recognizing those aspects of love, and to what degree, right? Someone who is a natural nurturer, who's expressive with their thoughts, who likes to share with others, and is just naturally that type of person, right? And maybe your personality is a little bit different, and they're always sort of bouncy in that kind of way, and they're always, you know, seem to be love and light, and like me, you know, and they express themselves with openness and honesty and whatnot. At any point in time, whether that's your thing or it's not your thing and you don't respond, there's a way to handle that with love. The love may look a little bit different to maybe how they're expressing it, but you're returning it, you're addressing your boundaries, you give the opportunity for discussion to say, hey, you know, when you act like this or when you do this, this bothers me because of X, Y, and Z. How can we work together to make sure that we're both comfortable? Now, how that looks like when love is not factored into that is, this person makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to put up with this, so bye. Or you block them, or you shame them for whatever reason. Why? Just because they're expressing love in a way that's different from the way you express love doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just different. And so when you are being assertive, you are expressing your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, all while being respectful of the other person. You're not shaming them. You're not putting them down. You are not being accusatory, accusing them of doing something that they're probably not doing. But that's only your interpretation of their action. That's not love. Okay. Anyhow, okay. So I think part of the world's problem, as I see it, is that everybody has a very misguided perception of what love is. And it's only as we do the healing work, as we can come together and discuss and share perspectives and be respectful of one another, can we then really uncover and unlock the true essence of what love actually is. Because like I said, right? As I always say, we are all love. We come, love is how we evolve. Love is how we come into this world, and we go out with love. We go back to love. So why is it while we're here in this incarnation, we can't practice that properly? So, okay. So abundance. Let me read abundance here. Okay, so abundance was 1. Okay, here we go. Abundance. Generously give the abundance you want to receive. The magnificent oceans, a forest full of trees, the sink in your kitchen where water flows with the turn of a tap. Abundance surrounds you. The practice is to not only see it and feel it, but to give from this place. If you want to be abundant in love, give love. If you want connection, connect others. If you want more friends, be friendlier. The lack you perceive in your life is the signal for you to give more of what you feel you are lacking. If you want abundance in harmony, create situations that allow you to develop harmonious relationships. Create calmness. Bring together. Don't drive apart. How well do you bridge the gap with others? Be abundant in virtue. An abundance of non-virtuous behavior only creates suffering. An abundance of virtuous behavior, love, peace, and harmony creates more love, peace, and harmony. Abundance is the antidote. Abundance is the antidote to scarcity, famine, lack, limits, a perceived lack of opportunities, poverty, inadequacy, shortcoming, depletion, deprivation, insufficiency, inferiority, slightness, loss, and miserliness. What would love do? Practice with your thoughts. What would abundance do? What am I willing to do? Whenever you find yourself believing there isn't enough of something, redirect your thoughts to find abundance. Consider grains of sand on the beach. An inhale that always arrives after an exhale. The water that runs from your tap without you having to do anything other than turn it on. Seek evidence of the abundance that surrounds you. Practice with your words. Write a letter of gratitude or thanks to someone, sharing how abundant they made you feel. Share with a friend something that you are abundant in, instead of complaining about something you lack. Yeah, I need to adhere to that a lot more too. Anyways, Share on social media the abundance surrounding you in that moment. Practice with your deeds. Try a self-directed 30-day abundance challenge. For instance, if you want more likes on your Facebook posts, go like and interact with other people's posts for 30 days with the intention of creating abundance. Do it with a clean, pure, loving mind and from the bottom of your heart. Give away something you have an abundance of. Sort through your closets or kitchen for things that are in good condition, but you have an abundance of. Have a fruit tree or a garden. Share the abundance of fresh food with friends, family, and neighbors. Give of your time and talents. Talents are abundance in themselves. A dance teacher cannot use up their talent for teaching. No matter how much they teach, they still have more talent to give. Dedication. May I and every being that feels the limits of scarcity be free from this suffering. May we be happy. Affirmations. I give generously all that I seek an abundance of. I have fill in the blank in plentiful supply. So I have abundance in my life now. I'll read this one again and I'll fill in the blank here. I have love in plentiful supply. So I have abundance in my life now. Abundance nurtures my life as I practice it with a reasonable and positive mind. All right. Boundaries. That is, okay, so boundaries. Boundaries offer clarity instead of conflict. And that is, oh, look at that. That's card 10. All right, here we go. Okay. Yes, here we go. Setting boundaries is a loving way to define your truth. Boundaries. Boundaries offer clarity instead of conflict. Your boundaries are your precise marker of what is okay with you and what is not okay with you. Everyone needs to create physical boundaries, mental boundaries, and emotional boundaries. Setting boundaries is the way to define what is true for you. Boundaries also create ownership by defining who is responsible for what. Own and fix thinking is tremendously valuable in all areas of life. When we own what we think, say, and do, and we fix our contribution to a problem, we empower ourselves to act in a self-loving and productive manner. What are you willing to take on? What are you not willing to take on? Boundaries also clear up confusion, lack of clarity, and disharmony. They create rules that help you govern yourself, reduce negative emotions, and increase calm and peace. Boundaries are also being clear about when to say no. It's very self-loving to give yourself permission to say no. Giving beyond your current capacity is not love and breeds resentment. Think of a teacup and saucer. What it would look and feel like to serve from the tea that overflows onto the saucer rather than from the cup itself. This idea is the essence of clear boundaries. We must first have vitality and life force to share. In other words, an overflowing cup. The abundance created allows you to give to others more fully while still feeling full yourself. Boundaries are the antidote. Boundaries are the antidote to lack of containment, inadequacy, poverty, scarcity, deprivation, depletion, deficiency, shortfall, insufficiency, being leaky, and inconsistency. What would love do? Practice with your thoughts. What would boundaries do for me? What am I willing to do? What boundaries can you create for your thoughts? Would it serve you to create a boundary around ruminating about the past too often? Yes. Oh, jeez. Okay. How would it look and feel to hold yourself to this boundary? I'm still working on that personally. Contemplate. What do I need to own and fix? As in tennis, you can only play your side of the court. You are only responsible for your own thoughts, words, and deeds. How others perceive things is not yours to own. Practice with your words. Tell yourself what your boundaries are. Ask yourself what is okay with me and what's not okay with me. Speak your boundaries to someone else to honor yourself. Speak in a loving way to someone who crossed a boundary you had set. Practice with your deeds. Create a boundary that works for you. If you have a friend, excuse me, who only gossips and you don't like it, hold yourself to your new boundary when you see her. Create a boundary around your activities. Choose ones that reward you with joy. Limit activities that drain you. Create a boundary around your health. What you eat, when you eat, how much you exercise, and how much water you drink are all good places to start. I know I need to drink more water, and I used to be a water drinker more than anything. And then I kind of fell off that wagon. And now I'm trying to put myself back on it. So that's something I've been working on myself. Dedication. I dedicate the establishment of boundaries to all those who lack a container and have betrayed their own truth. May we all be fortified and protected on their journey. Affirmations. I revel in the structure of healthy boundaries. By setting boundaries, I am honoring my truth. I have the wisdom I need to set healthy boundaries. Yes. Amen. So, like, right? But, you know, the other thing to that, and some other things to that I would add in regards to boundaries, is never to assume that the other person knows what your boundaries are and should from the get-go. Right? Sometimes, you know, what may seem obvious to you based on, I would say, right, this is where to me, check your privilege comes in. Because, you know, if, for example, yes, one example that I have to this is when you are when your personality and how you express yourself might be different to another person, and the way that they may be expressive of themselves and whatever may be going on for them, and you interpret it as being something that is crossing a boundary for you, for whatever reason that may be. Whether it be that if someone is excited because of some discovery, and they choose to express it to you, or they want to express it to you because they feel comfortable expressing it to you, and then you misinterpreted as something that they're doing to you when it's not even about you. And right? You know, we all have different personalities too, and when we understand, you know, the difference between people who are neurotypical and neurodivergent and stuff like that, right? That's where, to me, communication, clear communication, and that respect. Sorry about that. I had to pause for a minute to take care of something. Yeah, so the example I think I was with, you know, the difference between neurotypical and neurodivergent people, right? Okay. Also, right? When people are coming from two different cultures and interacting, right? You know, I feel like a larger example of this, even just based on things that I've, you know, seen and observed lately, is that even when it comes to understanding ourselves and our sexuality, and, you know, especially when a straight and someone from the LGBTQ community may interact, and the way of expressing themselves is misinterpreted, because the assumption is maybe that person they're expressing themselves in a way. So the term love bombing, for example, really understanding what that really means, And instead of sort of using the blanket definition to really make sense of it. Because just because you may be and someone is expressing themselves, do you know if they're like you in that regard, for you to interpret the way that they're expressing gratitude or their thank you for what you've been able to give them that has been helpful. So that would be, for me, when I say check your privilege. And the mindfulness of that. Because you could be misinterpreting someone's intent as being something that it's not. And how you choose to respond determines the vibrational level and what are some traumatic woundings that need to be looked at. Okay. Moving on. I think I said enough about that. Fertile. A fertile person is a nurturer and an inspiration for others to grow. 29. Okay. Fertile. A fertile person is a nurturer and an inspiration for others to grow. The most fertile gardens are composed of many ingredients working together in harmony. The soil allows the farmer to plant seeds. The water nurtures the seeds, and the mulch rests atop and protects the seeds. Flowers bloom amid patience within the flow of divine timing. The right ingredients, the right conditions, and the right timing are all required in any fertile creative endeavor. So, if you want a better job, your ingredients might be your up-to-date resume and applying for jobs. Your conditions might be your network and job openings. To your industry, the timing piece shows up when the job you want is open, just as you are ready to apply for it. Remember, all three there goes number 3 again, are required. You can be fertile in your job seeking activity, but without a good resume or appropriate job openings, you won't get a job. Fertile also shows up when you cook dinner for your family, write a book, or create artwork. Even creating healthy habits for ourselves requires fertility. Fertility is really about flow and harmony with the natural way of things. Being fertile, you have the ability to produce abundantly and sustain vigorous and luxuriant growth. A fertile person is also an influence on those around them as a nurturer and can inspire others to grow into better versions of themselves. Fertile is the antidote. Fertile is the antidote to sterility, depletion, exhaustion, bankruptcy, desolation, feeling spent, used up, unproductive, closed, futility, manipulation, forcing, pushing, resistance, and feeling controlled. What would love do? Practice with your thoughts. What would fertility do? What am I willing to do? Remind yourself you are fertile with energy, ideas, and life. Notice the fertility around you in nature. Practice with your words. Write down all the things you have accomplished in the past. These are all examples of how fertile you are in your life. Write a bucket list of things you'd like to experience. This list is fertile with possibilities. Nurture the growth in others with encouraging words. Practice with your deeds. Take appropriate action. Identify your goal and one small appropriate action you can take right now. Create the conditions for fertility. If you want to be healthier, take stock of your pantry and eliminate foods that don't fit, or plan your meals for a week. Be in nature or plant a garden to get in touch with the natural way of things. Be in touch with how nature can't be hurried or forced. Dedication. I dedicate the abundance of fertility to all those souls who have ever suffered from the pain of futility. May our depletion, exhaustion, and lack of productivity be swiftly eradicated. May we effortlessly take action towards our goals and dreams. May we be happy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That just really hit me really hard. And it's funny because it's on the Nine of Swords. This has been me for the last 10 years of my life. I guess this would be the time to share with you that this deck is a soul deck. Anyway, okay, affirmations. When I am acting from fertility, I am allowing, being open and in flow with divine timing. I am like the most fertile gardens composed of many ingredients working together in harmony and in the flow of divine timing. As a fertile person, I am an influence on those around me as a nurturer and an inspiration for others to grow. And on that note, hi, my name is Alana. I am love, and so are you. And as I leave you with this today to reflect on, to take the time to self-reflect, journal, look in the mirror, and see yourself truly for who you are, so that you can see clearly who everyone else around you is too. I know who I am. I am love. And if I am love, then so are you. So please, for the love of God's grace, take care of yourself and each other. And please, while you're at it, don't forget about me too. Because as I am human, you are too. And I hope to see you next time. And until then, please live, listen, and learn. I love you. Peace.
Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. No matter what